Hello there, music aficionados. Now, in today's discussion, we're going to be talking about the origins of country music. It seems like this topic is not going to go off anytime soon. Now, Beyonce, after releasing that album, that country album she released, a lot of palm colors and taking it lightly. In fact, they feel like she disrespected their culture because after culturally appropriating country music, they feel like it's their own now. And palm colors obviously have never invented anything, which reminds me of how the devil is always claiming people's souls and claiming that he owns them, even though he never created anything. Is it just a coincidence? Now you tell me. So in today's video, we're gonna be diving into some videos to share more light on this topic about palm colors not having it when Beyonce released her country album, and then after that we're gonna break it down to discuss why black people are the originators of country music.
Call me a hater, I don't care, I'm a hater. But Beyonce's album is just like, what the it's honestly, it's reaching. Like, it was your category not doing good enough, you had to join into another one? I don't know, it's just not giving anything to me. I honestly find it repulsive. Anytime I hear on the radio, I'm like, get out! I can't listen to it. This ain't Texas, we ain't holding... What? I'm sorry.
Audrey, this you? Hi, hater. What, Bella? Oh, okay. I'll be right there. Excuse me. Bella, that's my dog. She's female. Wow. So all we needed all this time for you wish order hypoallergenic Barbie dolls to show your true color, pun intended, is for Beyonce to make a country album? Wish order Barbie. I noticed that you said that with your full wish order chest, but you turned your comments off. Why is that? I mean, didn't you want answers to the questions you asked in that video?
But Beyonce's album is just like, what the it's honestly, it's reaching. Like, it was your category not doing good enough, you had to join into another one? I don't know, it's just...
And exactly what was Beyonce reaching for? See, this is a banjo. And if you look at this definition of country music that doesn't take into account the stolen legacy of country music, but I digress, you will see the banjo plays a relevant part in it. And the history of the banjo does not run through black people. It begins with black people. So the idea of a black woman singing music that is heavily influenced by the string sounds of the banjo is not a reach at all. And when you talk about she wasn't doing well enough in her other category, which of these 9 categories from gospel to rap are you referencing? And we're just going to speed past the disingenuousness of somebody who doesn't like her voice or her songs, knowing the words to Texas Hold'em. And that's not even Beyonce's first foray into country music, because she performed Daddy Lessons with the Chicks in 2016 at the Country Music Awards. Not to mention she's from Houston, Texas. And when you're the most nominated Grammy artist in history, music is your category.
The funniest thing about TikTok is whenever you give your opinion on something, is that people think that your opinion is wrong. Like, I'm totally okay with people giving me their opinion back on my post.
Girl, save all the gaslighting. We can read between the lines about what you really meant. And you turned the comments off on your post. Girl, bye. You're dismissed.
Is your category not doing good enough, you had to join into another one? I don't know, it's just...
Black people created country music, just like we created jazz, blues, rock and roll, R&B, hip hop. We created literally damn near all forms of music. We can literally jump to any genre we damn well please because we created it. That's one of the most asinine things you can possibly say. Oh, Beyonce couldn't be in her own category, so she had to come to this one. Country wasn't made by white people. It was made by us. We can go to any genre we damn well please. You're going to be even more upset when she wins a Grammy for Best Country Album. That's going to really piss the girlies off, huh?
Hater you are. Let's get that out the way right now, first and foremost. I want you to tell me the difference between Jake Harlow, Machine Gun Kelly, Pitbull, Paul Wall, Eminem. I want you to tell me the difference between them in hip hop versus Beyonce in country. Tell me the difference. I want you to tell me the difference. We have no problem with them being hip hop rappers. We don't care. But it's so clear that you guys care about Beyonce singing country music, which I don't have an understanding on why. You don't have to like her record, but please don't discredit this girl like she can't sing country music. Audrey, go somewhere and learn, please.
Listen, Rebecca, why don't you just tell us what the problem really is? Because here's the thing, right, Sarah? I just called you Rebecca. I don't know how I flipped it to Sarah. We'll just go with Jessica. Somebody in the comments said, did you even listen to the album? You said no. You just heard the sounds or parts of the songs on TikTok. So how do you know if you like the album or not? How you know if you like the album or not? I don't like making certain things about race, but if she would have at least listened to the album and then said she don't like it, I still wouldn't. But okay, I understand. But to say that you didn't even listen to the album, you just heard the sounds on TikTok and you don't like it, it's kind of crazy. So I want you to tell me what the problem really is.
Anyways, I'm finna go to the store. Do y'all want something? You want some chips, some pop, some common sense?
In order for you to understand exactly how country music was created, think of a banjo. So a banjo came from West African slaves, right? Those enslaved individuals that were gotten from West Africa. Well, they were in the Europe, they were in the West, in America, and after touring through the fields for a very long time and feeling very maybe depressed because they were far away from home, they wanted something to comfort them and remind them of their home. What did they do? They recreated the banjo, a musical instrument that most African countries are quite aware of. As in, this is an instrument that you find in almost every culture of Africans. Even just local people here, when you ask them what is a banjo, they're gonna tell you this is just something that Africans know how to do. Simply put, it is something that is part of African culture and African heritage. So after being there for a very long time in Europe and in the West, they started recreating the banjo. And after playing the banjo, their slave masters got enchanted by the musical instrument and the prowess of these people that were playing the banjo, and after the slave masters found themselves liking the sound that came from the banjo, they decided to mix the banjo folklore and the music that the banjo came with their own European music, and hence creating what is known as country music. Now, a lot of people are gonna say that country music is a combination of European and African musical sounds, but at the same time, you gotta understand that the originators of this country music are Africans themselves, because you don't know exactly when cultural appropriation began, because the slave masters were the masters of cultural appropriation. Whatever they liked amongst their slaves, they took it as their own. If they liked a slave that was playing the guitar very well, they took that slave, made him a guitarist, a slave guitarist, simply put it like that. And if the slave master want to sing along the guitarist while he's playing a sound, if the slave master says, this is gonna be my music now, if he calls his friends and begins to perform for them, they're not gonna give credit to the slave, all right? They're gonna give credit to the slave master. So you gotta understand, as much as the slave master might not have been involved in the invention of country music, since it was the slave master's slaves that were playing it and creating country music, he rightfully felt that he owned it. Hence, his descendants would now play country music and take it as their own. And up to this day, palm colors feel like they own country music. Now, Beyonce creating her own album and making it a country music album, that was just something that runs through her, as an African. There's this desire that a lot of Africans have about music. Just visit any African nation. The first thing that is gonna meet you in the locals is the sound. You're gonna find people in the streets singing songs that you've never heard of. If you want, as a palm colored, and if you're like those slave masters, you're gonna take it as your own. You're gonna culturally appropriate it and reinvent it, take it back to your own country and make it as your own, because the whole world doesn't know where you got it. The world is unaware of its inventors and its roots. You're gonna take it as your own, right? This is exactly what happened with country music. And the other perspective that you might find intriguing in this discussion is the fact that palm colors themselves are very much free to participate in any genre that was created by Africans and is for black people, such as hip-hop or rap, R&B, dancehall, Afrobeats, the list can be going on and on. And no palm color is gonna come and say, no, Eminem is culturally appropriating this, he should stop, to the point where M has even won Grammys, in the rap scene or in the hip-hop scene. He's beating black people at their own game. But no palm colored is out here saying that, no, Eminem should stop this. This is not right because it belongs to black people. Nobody does that. But as soon as a black person picks up a banjo and tries to recreate the tunes of their ancestors, they are received with negativity and backlash. And palm coloreds are not having it, saying that this is not right. She wasn't doing well in her own categories. Yo, she is the inventor of that. Her people are the inventors of the banjo. They are the inventors of country music. She has the right to participate in it. And also, who knows, what if her trying to bring up the country music that was long forgotten, she could recreate a sound or tunes that people never felt were possible. So Beyonce is just doing what is right in doing this. Do you know what happens when the slave master feels beaten at his own game? He decides to fight back in the most unfair and unjust way to his slaves. Now, this is exactly what this lady is doing. She feels like she's in her right as the slave master's daughter or descendant. She has that in her blood. She feels like whenever she sees black people trying to do something that is part of their culture, she feels like she has the right to just tell them to stop, because it runs in these people's veins, to dictate what black people wear, what black people say, what black people sing, what black people eat. They feel entitled to that. Why? Because their ancestors are literally owners of black people. So, since the 17th centuries up to the 1830s, the banjo was known as an African American instrument. Nowadays, people from the palm color community feel like the banjo is their heritage and the music that it creates is theirs and it reverberates through their culture and their history, when in fact this was cultural appropriation in its fullest form. Think of Elvis, and when he culturally appropriated African spirituals and took it as his own, nobody went to him. Why? Because he's simply palm colored. Now, with that being said, tell us what you think in the comment section concerning this discussion, and I'll see you in the next video. If you found today's discussion interesting and insightful, please like, share, and subscribe. Signing off for now.